The date was January 28th, 2001. The location of Super Bowl 35 was at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, Florida, and the Baltimore Ravens had just defeated the New York Giants in Super Bowl 35 with a final score of 34-7. It was not only one of the most lopsided Super Bowls in NFL history, but it was the third time in which a non-division winner had won the Super Bowl. The path to redemption is oftentimes long and treacherous, with many bumps and bruises along the way. Many shows would point to the decline of a once promising team into nothingness. However, this one will discuss its rise to glory. This is the path of the New York Giants to Super Bowl 42. It is oftentimes very difficult to return back to the Super Bowl, even after winning it all. This was no different for the 2001 New York Giants, who, while they were decent, never truly lived up to the team they were in the previous year. Many could say that they took a huge step back as players like quarterback Kerry Collins and running back Tiki Barber didn't have statistically as good of a season. However, future Hall of Fame defensive end Michael Strahan, who also ended up being a Pro Bowler and All-Pro in 2001, ended up recording 22.5 sacks, which is a record that lives on to this day. Changes occurred the next season after losing their stable defensive coordinator John Fox to the job opening with the Panthers and the drafting of Pro Bowl and All-Pro tight end Jeremy Shockey from the University of Miami. The Giants were propelled to a 10-6 record on the back of their run control offense, which saw Tiki Barber run for 1,300 yards and 11 rushing touchdowns. They were on the brink of going to the NFC divisional round of the playoffs to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they led the 49ers 38-14 at Candlestick Park in the third quarter. All this until Jeff Garcia and Terrell Owens roared straight back with one of the greatest comebacks in playoff history. Even though the Giants had a chance to win at the end, it was botched by a bad snap, which led to a 39-38 embarrassing loss. After the 2003 season, it would be the end of an era for the New York Giants. Head coach Jim Fossil would be fired by the Giants, and Kerry Collins would leave the team as a backup quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. The Giants decided to sign former Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Tom Coughlin and draft from North Carolina State Phillip Rivers. A draft pick would eventually be flipped for the disgruntled first overall pick from Ole Mississippi, Eli Manning. The young quarterback wouldn't start immediately, but he did learn a lot behind mentor quarterback Kurt Warner. And while the Giants would end the 2004 season with a lowly record of 6-10, Eli Manning had shown a lot of promise, especially after a comeback win, his first win of the season against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Eli Manning took off in 2005 and 2006 as the Giants went to the playoffs in 2 consecutive seasons, where he massively improved not only his number of wins, but also his passing yard numbers and his passing touchdown numbers. The reason for the success of the Giants in these years was the addition of former Steelers wide receiver Plexico Burress, along with Amani Toomer and David Tyree. Tiki Barber was also a player that had elevated his play, as he was a Pro Bowler in 2005 and an All-Pro in 2006. While both of these seasons were a success, they were both end in first-round exits in the playoffs. One in an embarrassing loss to the Panthers at home, 23-0, and the other at Lincoln Financial Field, 23-20, on a last-second field goal by Eagles kicker David Akers. After this stroke of bad luck, Giants fans had all but given up on head coach Tom Coughlin, who saw the Giants starting out 6-2, only to lose 6 out of their last 8 games in 2006. After large frustrations with the Giants organization and Eli Manning, All-Pro running back Tiki Barber would retire at the prime of his career to go into reporting for NBC. The New York Football Giants would enter the 2007 season at a bit of a crossroad. Their coach and quarterback had failed them as they wanted to go further into the playoffs. The Giants would start out the season 0-2 against the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers, and they were seen as being dead by the league. However, they would be propelled by their 3-headed back attack known as Earth, Wind, and Fire. Brandon Jacobs was Earth because he was strong and pounded the rock. Derek Ward was Wind as he blew the defense back, and Ahmad Bradshaw was Fire because he would burn down your entire defense and break their ankles. While the Giants were a good team in the regular season, they weren't considered championship caliber, as they would have 0 offensive Pro Bowl skilled players. Jeremy Shockey would get injured for the rest of the regular season, and Eli Manning would lead the league in interceptions thrown with 20. However, the Giants never gave up. They arrived in the playoffs as the 5th seed and powered through 3 division winners on the back of their strong defensive line, led by Michael Strahan, Matthias Kiwanuka, Osi Umenyiora, Justin Tuck, Barry Cofield, and Fred Robbins. They also got the key plays from their defensive backfield, including R.W. McQuarters, Corey Webster, Gabriel Wilson, Sam Madison, James Butler, and Darren Ross. Finally, when the Giants needed a clutch kick, they turned to Lawrence Tynes, who iced the NFC title game against the Green Bay Packers by kicking a game-winning field goal in overtime. The Giants had finally made it back to the Super Bowl. This time, they had to play against the greatest team that had ever made it to the Super Bowl, the 18-0 New England Patriots. They had a record-winning touchdown passer and receiver, a defense that pilfered opponents, and a coach that appeared to have answers to anything that anyone attacked him with. Wide receiver Plexico Burress boasted that the Giants would win Super Bowl 42 20-17, which gave Tom Brady the giggles.
Okay.
However, he wasn't kidding as the Giants' defense came to play, led by their middle linebacker Antonio Pierce, who had 11 total tackles, and the defensive line that forced Tom Brady to be sacked 5 times and fumbled once. When all had appeared to be lost, with 1:15 remaining in the 4th quarter, the second most miraculous play in NFL history happened. Quarterback Eli Manning was pressured heavily and was basically declared dead to rights. All of a sudden, was somehow able to fight out of the sack, chuck the football in the middle of the field, and who was the hero of that play? None other than David Tyree, who outleapt Rodney Harrison and caught the ball pinned between his hands and his helmet. The drive was then finished off with 35 seconds left on the clock, with a touchdown pass from Eli Manning to Plexico Burress, who had burned Patriots cornerback Ellis Hobbs to make the score 17-14. The Patriots couldn't come back, and the Giants were victorious in the Super Bowl, making their journey complete. They started as a team who was the heavy favorite and had lost to a non-division winning opponent, and they ended as that non-division winner that defeated one of the greatest teams ever, with all the odds stacked against them. This truly was the path of the New York Giants to winning Super Bowl 42. Thank you for watching the path of the Giants to Super Bowl 42. If you like this video, feel free to watch more football commentary videos by 2 Birds and a Third. We would really appreciate it if you click the ones on this screen. Thank you.